Welcome to From Chains to Gains, where fitness frees us from our pains. Guilt and shame will cast away. With strength and joy, we'll seize the day. We'll share stories from trainers, each unique, with workout tips and the motivation you seek. With every rep, we'll rise above, transforming lives through strength and love. So join our tribe. Take that first stance. Embrace your power. Seize the chance. Subscribe today. Don't hesitate. From chains to gains, let's elevate. Hi, thank you for tuning in. Welcome back. My name is Marlene, aka Simply Passion Fruit, and I'm here today with Shalita. Shalita, can you tell us a little bit about who you are?
Should lead off with loaded questions. Okay, so I'm Shalita. I am here in the beautiful city of Houston. I am a PhD student in integrative and functional nutrition, finishing out the dissertation. Y'all pray for me. It's a doozy. Lots of research and things of that nature. I am a personal trainer. I am a coach. I also am a personal chef, and I am one who creates meal plans and helps do nutritional therapy for those who really want to, make those lifestyle changes eating wise, because, we love to work out, but afterwards it's the fork that gets us. So, and I'm passionate about health and holistic overall wellness and really just to serve people.
Awesome. That's a lot. When did this journey start for you when it comes to fitness and nutrition and building your expertise and continuing the education that you are working on?
Oh, wow. It started, I would say, honestly, it started in childhood. I know it sounds weird, but my mother, when I was a kid, she taught aerobics back in the day. So she was always in her aerobics classes, and she was like the ab queen, to where she would have one song that was just for abs and doing crunches for 10 minutes. I'm over there screaming in pain. I'm like, it's enough. But that was what I was used to. My cousins were athletes. I ran track. And so it was kind of they're just, okay, everyone does some sort of physical activity. So it was kind of in the blood, but I was just yeah, okay. And then right before I decided to go to the military, I didn't make weight. So I'm oh, this is not good. So I had to kind of train myself and to get my weight down to where I'm able to make weight and to able to run the mile properly. I was able to do the push-ups and sit-ups and everything that I had to do to pass. Okay. So back then I was doing Billy Blank's Tybo. I'm aging myself.
Me too. That is where it started for me.
Tybo was the man, and I was just this dude is insane. Yes. So I was doing those hour-long advances, dripping with sweat, running miles, eating chicken breast and grapefruit, and just I gotta make weight to get out of here to go to the military, and I was able to do that. Amen. And so it was kind of I was Mom, what do I do? She's well, I don't want to tell you. I was well, we gonna work out with you, and I'm gonna work out here at home. And so I trained myself so I can make weight. Of course, went through my time in the service, but it was actually on our second deployment where everyone was pretty much when you weren't at work, you were sleeping or you were eating or doing something. So I'm going upstairs to the gym, but I was on a ship, so I was on a floating gym, literally. So you had to kind of navigate when the ship is rolling, and you're on the treadmill, sometimes having to brace yourself that you don't fall forward because the ship is rolling. And so learning how to really navigate working out at a gym that is consistently moving. And yes. So a couple of my friends, they're why didn't you do this? I'm okay, well, here, try this. Here, try this. So I was training people didn't really know what I was doing. I was I'm just train this. But I was in die-hard Oxygen magazine reader and Muscle and Fitness Hers reader. So I would I had the subscriptions. I would bring them on board. And it's you have these cutouts of these women. It's weird. It was weird. I was that.
It was your vision board.
Yeah, it was a vision board before the vision board was a thing. And so I was just what I like to do. And so I started training people then, and then when I was overseas, I trained some people there, and it was maybe I'll do it, maybe, but kind of, we'll see. But then afterwards, I had my daughter gained about 75 pounds when I was pregnant with her, and it didn't really go away. So then I had massive health issues, a heart attack in 2009. So I was roughly almost 300 pounds. And so I'm kind of short. This is really not healthy. Let me try to do something. And so I'm like, okay, let's try this again. Let's find something that works. And so what I did is I was working out at home. And I found, shout out to my boy, we are like best friends in my head. His name is Millionaire Hoy. So he goes by Millionaire Hoy Fitness on YouTube. And I was like, play. Oh my God. So I can sweat and fall out in my house. No one had to see me. So between that and like Insanity, T25, P90, like all the beach body stuff. So I did all of the things to really try to figure out like what I liked, but I knew that I needed to move my body in some way, some paper form. I first started looking into nutrition actually in 2003 when I was actually out to sea to go to war.
Okay.
I had all this stuff with me. I'm like, let's just go look and see. I'm like, okay, this is pretty simple. Okay, makes sense. So I was working with others and kind of helping them. Hey, even though we're out here and the food is not terrible, some days it's okay. Some days I'm like, what is that? And so you're just like, you know what? Today we have to just make it off of peanut butter and jelly in the salad because you don't know what's kind of being served. So you're just like, well, that looks weird, so I'm gonna try this. But I was always reading something and trying to look in some books. It was always,
learning.
It was always there. My mom was an avid juicer. As a kid, she had like the old school, big, massive, bulky juicer. And one of her favorite things to actually juice was like beets. I hated beets because I'm like, it tastes like dirt. It tastes like outside.
Yes.
30 years later, I like beet juice with other things. I'm just like, you did this to me. So she thinks it's the funniest thing in the world. But I didn't really think about in regards to really the education part of it. But I was like, well, just go ahead and just train people and just call it a day.
Yeah.
But I'm like, well, most people love to work out or want to do something, but it's outside of that hour or 2 hours. What is your lifestyle like? What are you eating afterwards? So a lot of times people are like, well, I can work out, but what do I eat? And you're like, well, what do you want to do? Like, what goals do you have? Do you have any allergies? Because some people, I've dealt with people who have like an allergy list long as my arm and then a food aversion. I'm like, so what are you eating? Just water and toast? Like, where is your nutrients coming from? And they're like, well, I'm not meeting my goals in the gym because your nutrition is trash. Let's do better. Let's do better. Let's do better.
I hear do better.
Do better, man. Do better. It was like, come on, we can do it. Let's do better.
Yeah.
And so I got my bachelor's in psych. I got my master's in health psychology. So health psychology is a very unique sub-trend of psych because it works on how your physical and your mental health go together.
Okay.
For example, if someone is in great physical shape and they, God forbid, they get into a car accident, now they can't work. Now they've had all this surgery, so now they're watching their, all those gains disappear. They're watching themselves gain weight. So oftentimes can deal with depression because of how they're looking in the mirror. So now you have a mental issue on top of your physical issue and how those things go together. And so as far as the doctorate, I was like, well, man, listen, I already got a master's. Why not just go all the way to the top? Like, might as well, let's just keep on going. But it was just my love for wanting to see people healthy because I've dealt with my laundry list of health conditions and I'm like, I don't want to see any more statistics if that doesn't have to be so. And it bothers me that many people are okay with being said statistic versus doing the work to unpack why they're there. Okay. And I mean, I've had medication-induced and pregnancy-induced hypertension. I've had a heart attack. I've had a brain tumor. I've had my thyroid completely tanked. So I'm just like, what is happening? I went in for a routine exam one day and was getting tested for cervical cancer. I'm like, I'm not coming here for this. I came in for a regular checkup. Why are we doing this? Oh, you have all the symptoms. So I might have cancer. So I had to go through all those different things. I'm like, listen, I'd rather not add another checklist to all these conditions. Can we stop? Something has to give. And I love food. I have always been a foodie. Like, where's the food at? So I'm like, okay, that's one great thing I enjoyed about being in the military. No matter where we were stationed, I'm like, where are we going? Japan, food, yes. Where are we going? Dubai, food, yes. And so I was always wanting to find those certain things, but oftentimes, if unchecked and if not dealt with properly, food can become your friend.
Or a frenemy.
Or a frenemy. Because the thing is, it doesn't talk back to you.
Yeah.
It makes you feel good when you get it. You're like, I'm having a run.
Back.
It talks back when you're like, my clothes don't fit.
Yes.
But oftentimes, just like, I'll get something else. I ain't got
Too
time.
late at that point.
And then we've embraced this culture of, this is not to shame anyone, of healthy at every size. And that's not necessarily the case. To where someone can be, supermodel slim and be completely unhealthy, minerals horrible, blood pressure to the roof, and someone can be in a larger frame and have those same issues or have something that's completely opposite. And so this whole culture of don't afraid to body shame, don't talk about there. I'm like, but no one says anything when you are eating yourself to oblivion most of the time. But the moment you decide to eat a fruit or a vegetable, then it's, what's wrong with you? What do you mean you're eating fruit? Because it's there. It's
good.
It's the natural fast food is grabbing a banana. I'm just like, it's such distortion.
Yes.
And seeing people unhealthy bothers me. It really bothers me.
Well, you've moved to a state where we have a lot of unhealthy people in Texas.
Yeah.
I think it's shifted, but just growing up here myself, I've always felt like I didn't fit in for many reasons. One just being wellness. People look at me and they're like, what do you do? I just dance, but I've done it for years. I've been on a cruise ship before, and so many people on the cruise ship were on oxygen tanks. And I was like, what's happening? Like, am I in a scary movie? Like, I understand you want to live your life to the fullest, even in your older age.
Yeah.
This is very sad. And you're not even leaving the ship because that's an effort.
And you have to carry this big thing, depending on if it's like the huge tank, or now they have like the like backpack compartments, but it's still like you're still kind of limited on what you can do. You're really unable to really enjoy all the festivities. Because if I'm going on anybody's cruise, I'm doing everything. Yes. I'm like, is there a swimming pool? Can I jump off of something? Like, what are we doing? Like, I don't do
that
all the.
That wasn't what I witnessed. It
all
was
the
a
things.
lot of eating.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of buffet style.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of sitting, and I just was like, I have to get out of here. I have to get from around. Like, I really need to be in a location where it's just the wellness is primary, and that consciousness of like activity, because that's what fuels me, and I enjoy being surrounded by that. I enjoy being surrounded by you. So thank you.
Likewise.
You shared your laundry list, or a part of your laundry list, and the first thing that went through my head is, because anytime I've had an ailment or a sudden condition that shifted my trajectory of life, I sunk. And I had to go to a place of rebuilding and really digging into my faith, because my mind took me on a whole nother direction.
Oh, yeah.
So what was that like for you? Each time or whenever this would happen in your life, just maybe an instance that you can remember, how did you pull yourself out and get yourself to the place of healing yourself? Because I'm sure you relied on your faith.
Well, leading up to having a heart attack at 28 years old, that's very uncommon, because most of the time those are what you're maybe, an older adult, your grandparent or something like that would deal with. And so I also have a background in surgical technology, so I am very aware of anatomy, physiology, like the different systems, all the different things. So I have that medical side, because at one point I'm like, well, man, what kind of doctor do I want to be? Does it do, nutrition or lifestyle, or we can just go ahead and just go all the way to med school. So I've kind of have that balance of knowing this is how your body functions, and also the nutrition side. So this is what your body needs. Now go get active. And let's try to make this work. So it was at that time to where upon waking up that morning, I thought I had slept wrong, because you know sometimes you sleep wrong, you're like, oh, my shoulder hurts. I'm like, oh, maybe I slept wrong. And when I dropped my daughter off, she was about 4 at the time, and I'm getting my car to go to work, and I'm getting in the car, and I felt the classic heart attack symptoms, that crushing, like an elephant sitting on your chest. Wow. And then like the pain running down my left arm. I knew exactly, I'm like, I know what this is. Wow. Do not be like me. Do not drive to the hospital. Please call 911.
You drove yourself? Listen, that's that military, right?
It is. I'm just like, I'm already in the car. You know what I'm saying? I'm already in the car. Wow. Because my thing was, right across the street was an actual fire station.
Wow.
In my mind, if I leave this car here and the fire truck comes over here, my daughter is going to freak out, and she's gonna what's happening to my? I'm like, yeah. But then, yeah, I've been in the military too. Because I'm just like, well, I'm already in the car. We're gonna do this right now. And so I get there, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, I don't know what's happening. They ran all these different tests, and the interesting thing is that when I got to this one particular hospital, most ERs, no matter what time you come, there's 1,000 people in there. Yeah. This particular one, and it was just like, it'll be all day. I got in there, and there was not a single person in the waiting room. Oh my God. I'm like, okay, Lord, I see what you're doing here. I was, oh my God, chest pain. Come right back. So they did EKG. By the time I even got to my actual triage room, they had lab and X-ray there right away. Wow. And they're like, your heart's twice the size. I'm like, my heart is what? I'm like, your heart's double the size. You're not going home. And
was it swollen?
It was
full of blood.
It was inflamed. So it was almost like an infection. Okay. So the heart muscle itself was inflamed. Okay. The sac around that was inflamed. Okay. And all of my blood work that they measure to see if there's any heart damage or heart attack. Mine were 7 times the norm when I came in there. Yes. So it was clear that something occurred. Yes. And so like, you're not going home, like, my mom just left. I'm here by myself. No one is around. I'm thinking about everyone. I'm like, okay, my daughter's at school. What's happening? Like, Mom, she's like, what? I'm coming. I don't know what to do. This is crazy. Someone come and get my daughter. I don't know if I'm going to leave out of there alive. Yeah. And so I really had to sit there. I'm like, Lord, I don't know what's happening. I trust you. What's happening? I'm like, Lord, I'm scared. Lord, I'm scared. And so I was actually supposed to take a friend of mine to the airport, and I called her. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to. Why do you sound sick? I'm like, girl, I'm in the hospital. What? It was like nonchalant. I'm in the hospital, whatever. And my friend came, she's like, what? Hospital? Why? I said, my heart's enlarged. She was like, your what? Like, your heart's bigger? I was like, yeah, so we have to pump harder. It has to work a lot harder. She's like, you're in. Why? I said, I don't know. We're gonna figure this out. I don't know. So my mom had just left, because I was in San Diego. My mom left that night before to get to Las Vegas. Okay. I had to call her. She's on the ship. I just got here. Okay, I'm gonna figure out how to come and drive right back. She's like, I'm coming. I'm like, help, get her to the hospital. I think I'm dying. What's going on? Yeah. And as I'm laying there, I'm just like, Lord, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm completely at the mercy of this hospital. Yeah. What does this look like? So I do all the different tests. So one of the major tests that they do is a stress test. And so most of the time with the stress test, you have to get on a treadmill and run to increase your heart rate to see how your heart's functioning. I did my stress test in my wheelchair. They pumped me with epinephrine to watch how the heart works, and I failed it in my wheelchair. And I'm like, this is crazy work. Like, what? Wait, nuclear medicine? What do you mean? We're gonna do some tests. I'm like, what? You can't move your leg because you might bleed out. I'm like, what is going on? And so I called my pastor at the time. And so he came in and he asked, and he came in, he's like, the first thing he said, he's like, I'm praying for you, but he said, we ain't gonna let God be God. I was like, you can just get out. Like, I don't need this verbal badgering, you know what I'm saying? Like, you came here to pray for me, not to convict me. Oh gosh. You're right though. Didn't want to hear that at the time. Yes, I'm like, you're right. And so I'm like, well, Lord, I ain't letting you be God. He's like, well, are you really? Yes, Lord, I think so. He's like, but now let's think about a heart attack spiritually. Who have you not forgiven? What are you holding on to? What have you not let me handle? What have you not handed over? Well, I'm just, he's like, oh, you want to be in control. I'm like, well, you know what? This is you're yelling, yes, Lord, amen. And so what do you do when you're really, when you're kind of at death's door and seeing that, hey, you're right here. Something has to give. Yes. You're going to have to do something. And I'm like, Lord, help me to trust you again and to give you access to my own personal heart, not just this physical one, so that whatever I am harboring internally does not continue to manifest itself physically, because that's what that was. And so I really had to, me and the Lord had hard conversations. we had very hard conversations. And then years later, I had this massive headache, and I went to the ER on April 1st. It just happened to be April 1st. And I'm like, this is the worst headache of your life? Yeah, I had a headache for 3 days. I don't know what's going on. And so if you ever been to the emergency room and you hear them discussing, so, and we're talking about you, so your ears naturally, you're like, what are you talking about? I hear you, like, hello. You're like, what? Yeah. You're like, hello. I hear you. And it's like, well, I think it may be an aneurysm or a tumor. I'm just like, I know you lying. Like, I know you're talking about me. It comes in, oh, hi. So there's a mass here. There's a what? There's a tumor? Like, yeah, it's a tumor. Here's your your CT scan. You can send it to your PCP. We don't know if it's an aneurysm. I'm just like, what? So I'm sitting there like,
yeah,
okay,
process.
I'm like, this is a horrible April Fool's joke. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this is outright cruel. I'm like, where's Dr. House? This is something that Dr. House would do. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, this is crazy. Like, no, that's what this is. And so then I had to go through more tests with that.
Wow.
And I'm like, Lord, what is going on now? He was like, so first it's your heart, now it's your head. I'm like, okay, what am I not doing? What am I not doing? He's like, I need you to let me be God. Wow. He's like, you think too much. You're always in your head. I'm like, well, yeah, I am. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, so overthinking. He's like, oh, overthinking can lead to other things manifesting physically. And I use manifesting lightly in regards to things that can turn out a certain way, not how it's loosely thrown around right now. Yeah. So, and I'm like, Lord, so what do I do now? He's like, I need you to trust me in a completely different way. And so I'm like, okay. So then the third instance was when I went in and they're like, yeah, we have to now, I had to wait 2 weeks to find out I had cervical cancer. And I had they were like, I went in and I ended up having a biopsy. I'm like, why? Well, we have to wait for about 2 weeks to rule this out. So I had to wait to see if the biopsy said that.
Okay.
Because it was over Christmas time. So I'm sitting there on the floor, feeling like literally feeling like a woman with the issue of blood type of moment, because my cycles were irregular, and I was doubled over in pain. I was like, and I had every single physical symptom that could lead to that. And so I had to even have those hard conversations with God regarding having more children. Yeah. Okay, what does this look like? Yeah. If this comes out positive, who's going to take care of my kids? Okay, what does this mean? How do I trust you with this part of my body? He's like, okay, so first was my heart, and now it's my brain, now it's my womb. Really? Can I not be a statistic anymore? I have questions. Why are you allowing this? And so I think sometimes even when your faith gets challenged, oftentimes we don't think that it's okay to ask those hard questions to God, and it is, because He's not afraid of your questions. He's not afraid of you having a whole fit. If he's not turned off by us whining and complaining about some stuff, then apparently he's talking about, okay, I got questions. So why are you allowing this again? Where's this in the book of my life? Like, you wrote this in here? Yeah. Why is this in here? You could have erased this part. We could have skipped to the next page, the next chapter. You could have just cut this. I'm like, but now it's here. So now what? Yeah. So now what here have I not dealt with? Yeah. And he's like, okay, mother wounds. I'm like, really? So he's like, what do you mean mother wounds? He's like, have you forgiven your mother from those different things that you didn't release to me? I was like, yeah. He's like, what about the stress that you carried when you were pregnant with both of your children? I'm like, oh, Lord. So during all those times, He's revealing things about His nature that only He can give me, but He's also at the same time showing me things that I have to deal with internally and have to release and have to be okay with dealing with those self-reflecting, those hard moments. I'm like, Lord, I need to go to therapy. Yes, you do. Okay, great. They'll be finding therapists. And so therapy and Jesus are okay.
Amen.
Because we need both. That was a very long answer.
Talk therapy and movement therapy.
Oh, the gym is therapy. Movement is therapy. Because there have been days I'm like, you know what? I need to go back to the gym. I'm going for a run. I'll be back. Like, don't talk to me. Give me about 30 minutes to come back. Okay, hi. Now we can have this conversation. Like those natural endorphins, those natural things that happen when you are moving your body. It is definitely a form of therapy. Dance therapy, running therapy, iron therapy, stretch, all of the things, because your body is like, and you're able to kind of take whatever those things out and release that, during movement.
That's amazing. Okay, so the purpose of this whole series is from chains to gains, transforming your fitness, right? So in my head and in my heart and in my life, I've dealt with my share of challenges, and movement and prayer were always what helped carry me through, what helped transform me, what helped heal me, what helped keep me sane. And so I want the world to be aware or sensitive to what happened in my life, and obviously your life, and in many other lives can also happen for them. If they don't know the Lord, hopefully they will be curious to get to know who God is for them, so they can build that personal relationship. But also just understanding how it's all intertwined, the body, the mind, and the spirit, and the soul, and we're responsible for what we do. It really is our temple. It's necessary that we care for it inside and out, not for aesthetic purposes, but genuinely because we were created for a purpose.
Absolutely.
And we have an assignment until the day that we pass away. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is I figured out for me in my personal walk how, when I had a herniated disc and one arm was practically paralyzed short term, and I wanted to cry, and I went into depression, and I, was angry and was bitter, and just all of the negative, toxic things consumed me, how the Holy Spirit saved me, and so I trained myself. I got on a bike, I played gospel music, I spoke affirmations to myself, I spoke scriptures to myself. I don't want to say I healed myself, but He helped me heal myself, right? And so I know what that power is like. I know what the Holy Spirit and the strength of true faith and belief, I know what that can do. And I'm trying to figure out how to tap into that with other people and, have trainers push me into a different setting where I'm being challenged, I'm not getting comfortable, I'm doing things I'm not, used to doing. And I'm still growing and hopefully inspiring other people. All of that to say, what have you seen in terms of the marriage of faith and fitness transforming your life or someone else's life that you're training? Like, how have you seen those two come together, or how does that inform what you do?
Well, I think one thing we have to really focus upon and really have the epiphany of is that faith and fitness go together. And I think that oftentimes people don't think that God cares about their health, their physical health, and He does. Aesthetics are more of an us thing, but your overall health and wellness, He does care about that. Because whatever the Lord has placed in and upon people's lives, whatever their mandate is here, you need to be healthy to do it. And I think that sometimes we have those moments where, like, Lord, find somebody else to do it. Okay, He'll find someone else to do it, but there's still something that you specifically are mandated to do, or something that only you can do. Because each of us have like their own kind of specific audience, or those who are called to our voice. But what happens to those people if we're not healthy to do so? And so it's like, if someone has a massive headache and you're their Excedrin. Do you just let them be in pain? And when are you going to show up as the answer for that person? I think faith and fitness are, me personally, I feel as if taking care of your temple holistically, you know, proper sleep, hydration, eating the right foods, getting plenty of movement, managing, you know, stress, having healthy relationships, of course, time, spending time feeding your spirit man, that all matters. But in regards to faith and fitness, it's an act of worship. It is an act of worship. As much as we live in a society and a culture where we have that, you know, that mindset of you can't tell me what to do with my own body, and technically, your body, you're not your own. You're if you're a blood-bought believer, your body does not belong to you. You don't really have it. You have to. This ain't yours. You're gonna have to there's an account with not even just your words, but how you live your life that you're gonna have to give. You're like, well, Lord, I know you told him to work out, but I didn't feel like it. Or I didn't want to mess up my hair. Or I didn't want all the different things. It's like, but I mean, if I want you to travel, you're gonna be on planes for 6, 7, 8 hours. I need you to be healthy enough to where your blood is flowing properly to where you don't have a blood clot and you don't end up leaving this earth earlier because you have a lack of movement or you have not gone to the doctor. Faith and fitness work together because there's nothing like having a stressful day and having a workout or doing something, whatever type of movement that you want to do with worship in your ears. It just hits different. It just hits different. You know, I have moments where I'm like, let me listen to some T.I. I'm like, okay. After like 10 minutes, I'm like, okay, I can't. I'm like, okay. It has like a limited effect. You're like, okay, yeah, all right, okay. I need some, and so
you need some meat.
There are days where I have trained and sat in the sauna and I just wept and just cried. Of course, you know, it looks like sweat, you know what I'm saying? So nobody knows, but you and they're just having a whole meltdown with God, or you're like, Lord, I'm dealing with this, and he's having those, just having full conversations with him. I don't care what no one says. Gym revelations hit different. Yeah. Something you're working out and doing something like, hey, why don't you do this? Oh, that makes sense, Lord. Oh, okay. Because you're worshiping him, you're taking care of where he lives. And so I'm like, you're not going to violate or desecrate a temple. That's priceless. So we do it to ourselves and we think that, oh, he doesn't care. He does. He does care about your health and how you take care of yourself. And I think really seeing that as you're unable to separate the two, because fitness is not just a physical thing, but you can have whole full-blown therapy sessions with you and the Lord while you're exercising. You can, I know for myself and for others who I have trained, those consistent exercise and spending time with them can help you pull you out of those depressive states, pull you out of worry and stress and fear to where you're able to work your way or exercise your way into better mood, into even just having a different outlook and being just open to, okay, Lord, I don't know what today holds. I'm going to the gym, speak whatever you want to speak. And then you're like, oh, okay, now you have my full attention now, but I'm not distracted by other things. So now it's just me and you, and having those different things of what you're listening to while you're working out. Yeah. And really having others who will champion that, but also be okay with it being seen as if you're being vain. I had to navigate through that. So you're competing, that you're just being vain. Well, why? I mean, I can step on the stage in this itty bitty bikini that fits in a Ziploc bag and do all these poses and things and still love Jesus and still honor him and to let people know that, hey, just because I'm up here like this does not mean that I'm just like, selling myself. I'm like, no, I'm just like, hey, this is a fitness goal.
It's a journey.
And so to let people know, to invite the Lord into those physical spaces. Invite him into whatever physical journey that you may be on. Like, no matter where you're starting, okay, Lord, what does this journey look like? Okay, I want you to start walking. Okay, how many days a week? Okay, how far? What does that look like? And invite him in and let him be your trainer.
You don't need to pay someone, although we have you, and I'm excited to try your workout. You don't need someone. You have yourself. And sometimes that's all you need, is to just look within and focus on pulling out that inner version of you that you may have lost, would you say?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I think, a lot of people have that goal person, or what they really see for themselves, is kind of locked away, but they're like, I don't know where to start, so I'm not going to start. And then you get frustrated because you don't reach the goal. Well, you didn't even try. Like, you figured out, I want to do this, but I don't know where to start. And that's where you can reach out for help. But to where, is to really be honest with yourself and to be honest with God about, this is where I am, help me in this, what do I do? And then obeying those instructions. And being consistent with those instructions. Because I think sometimes also we'll start and we're like, okay, well, I'm done. Well, you didn't reach the full potential yet. There's always more. But don't get so caught up later on to where you're consumed with the aesthetic portion of it, that your physical health and full well-being gets pushed aside. Because even as one who competed in bodybuilding, it can be a very, very selfish sport. Yes. To where you're so consumed about beating your previous shape, your previous package. They're so focused on, you eat this and you do this and do this, but then you have a lot of bodybuilders who unfortunately are leaving this earth a lot early because of what they are putting in themselves. It can easily become an idol. And you can read in scripture anywhere how the Lord deals with idols. That does not end well. Does not end well at all. And so it's to really be able to really put him first in that, and to where it's an act of worship, but to where you're able to really sacrifice your thinking, change how you see yourself, and change how you see fitness, where you're like, okay, yes, this helps me, but it honors him.
Okay, so what's the favorite scripture, whether all time or just today, this week? What scripture's on your heart that you can share with us?
See, okay. So one of my favorites is 3 John 1 and 2. Above all things, I pray that you will be in good health and prosper, even as your soul prospers. And I think that oftentimes when we think of prosperity, we think of money. Absolutely. But yes, you can pass on generational wealth, but you can also pass on generational health also.
Like your mom did with all the juicing. And
and I was like, oh, this is horrible. Now I'm like, I like it. I like, yeah, right? And so, and I think that we can often really put prosperity in a box, and we limit it to, I have money, I'll give you these different things. But if you think about culture-wise, we've often passed down generational illnesses by our patterns of eating, our patterns of not dealing with stress, our patterns of not having the necessary conversations that you need to have, the patterns of not going to therapy because your best friend is not your therapist. You need a therapist. Go to therapy. And if you need medication, take your medication. It's okay to take your medication until you are healthy enough to be off of that. But we have passed on some of these ailments, some of these poor stewardship. We pass on poor stewardship.
And generational curses too.
And all the different things that come along with it, to where you're like, well, yeah, mama had it, granddad. Okay, fine, everything's gonna be fine. Well, you're okay with having these same ailments everyone else did? Are you afraid of stepping outside of the box and being the quote unquote black sheep because you want to do things differently? And the thing is our soul, our mind, our will, and our emotions prospering means that you're not walking around here with your face in the floor all the time, to where you're able to smell the roses, to where you're able to navigate those emotions in life in a healthy manner. You're able to communicate, you're able to have boundaries, you're able to have proper relationships. All those different things matter. Your spirit man prospering. Spending time with the Lord is necessary for that. Your physical body prospering. And the thing is, some people feel as if they're healthy just because of, how they look in the mirror. But I'm like, are you healthy or are you just not sick? Because that's not the same. And so, well, I don't have this illness, or nothing's wrong with me, so I'm healthy. No, you may be okay on this, or have you gone to the doctor? Have you gotten blood work? What does your blood work say? Because blood is intelligent. So even if you think back in the garden, it was the blood that cried out to God. It was the blood of him that cried out, like, hey, your blood of your brother, what did you do? Why? What do you mean? Well, his blood is crying out to me. Listen, let you know, hey, the blood can talk. And so even when we think of the blood of Jesus and how his blood heals, his blood cleanses, his blood refreshes, it restores, it redeems. There's power in blood. And even with people, we like, go get your blood work, find out what's going on. Yeah. But a lot of people don't want to do that because they're afraid of what they may find out. Fear. And then, when they've had the opportunity to make other changes as far as dietary ways, you're not going to tell me what I can and cannot eat. But then if you go to the doctor, God forbid, they find something, they're going to tell you, you can have to change this, this, and this. You're like, dude, you could have. We had something 5 years ago, and now we're here doing the exact same thing that you did not want to do, but because we've kind of, procrastinated on that thing. And the other scripture is 2 Corinthians 6, 19 through 20. Don't you know that your body, I'm paraphrasing, is a temple of the Holy Spirit. You are bought with the price. You are not your own. You're blood bought. Like once that occurs, you have a responsibility to report to the Creator about this. Lord, okay, now what? What should I eat? What should I do this? And it says, honor the Lord with your body.
And it always takes you getting to that rock bottom point to start to realize and own what you haven't been doing and what you can do better. So I think that it's time for us to move. And I think that you're going to give me something awesome. I'm not scared. I think you're going to tell me to do better, and I'm going to love the sound of it.
You got this. You got this.
But for the people that are watching, where can they find you if they also feel inspired to come meet you and train with you? Okay,
well, you can find me on Facebook and on Instagram under Shalita Dodson, or on both Facebook and Instagram at Eden Style Eaton, and also my website, Eden Style Eaton. So that is based off of Genesis 1:29 on your foundation of what you are eating being fresh fruits and vegetables, because many times people don't eat it. And so to where that is the foundation of your eating pattern, then you build from there. But to really, give people the opportunity to incorporate and to include more fresh fruits and veggies. I'm gonna put the disclaimer out there now. I am vegan. You won't die. Okay, you won't die. So it's been almost 6 years, and that was God led. Also, I did not want it.
Gotcha.
Never would a million years would I have never.
Shout out to all the vegan listeners.
Never. So you can build muscle.
Yeah.
You can compete. I competed back in 2022, so I'll be stepping back on the stage next year.
Okay, let's do it together.
Yes, I'm excited. Okay. All right. Okay then. Y'all heard it. She said it. I mean.
We've already talked about it.
We
just gotta find the right time. But now that I know you're doing it, let's do it together.
Yeah.
Right?
So yeah, absolutely.
Iron sharpens iron.
It does.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This was
my pleasure.
So lovely.
Thank you.
I look forward
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Thank you guys. I hope you enjoy the workout. We are about to do the dang thing.
Yes, we are.
All right. You have a kettlebell. I will admit I have touched one. I have not done a full workout with one, so
Understood.
again, this is a first. I'm very excited to see the different things that you have planned. We're going to do a full body workout.
Yes.
It'll be short and quick. Would you recommend people do multiple reps and then multiple sets? Like, how do you break it down usually?
My suggestion, especially when working with kettlebells, is find a weight that is heavy for you, that's challenging, but I don't want you in here trying to pick up a 50-pound kettlebell. You never did one. So, start with a 10-pound kettlebell. Just kind of get your movements down. She's stronger than she thinks she is, so that's why we're with 20 pounds. But work with where you are. Beginning sets wise, 3 sets of 8 to 10 is kind of that beginner's rep range. When you're training for strength wise, pretty much 10 to 12. Those who really want kind of that endurance workout, between 12 to 20 reps. So in case you just kind of burn your muscle out, hey, have fun. However, make sure you warm up properly and you cool down, and that you stretch well. So it's going to be simple, short, sweet, and to the point.
Can you actually explain, like, kettlebells? Why do people love them or hate them? What's so great about them? Like, what is it about the ability to be able to swing versus a dumbbell?
I like kettlebells because though dumbbells are great, and I love dumbbells, kettlebells it challenges the body in a different way to be able to really incorporate different muscles and to really be able to have like that synergistic movement of different muscle groups going together. When I think of doing like a kettlebell swing, which we'll be doing today, if you're using a dumbbell, that can also work. However, if your grip is not solid enough, that dumbbell could also go flying. But to where the hinge motion of the kettlebell kind of makes it easier to kind of do things to where, you can flip it here, you can turn it here, to where it may be a little bit easier to maneuver versus a kind of solid dumbbell.
So it's the ergonomics.
Yes, where you can work
so
with things.
How are we warming up?
Okay, so first one, just a quick warm up. So give me 20 jumping jacks.
Okay, you gonna count for me
1,
like we're in the military?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Now go to high knees, hands here.
Oh gosh. I gotta jump. That's
all right,
high.
now slow it down. There you go. Breathe. 1, 2.
Look at that power. I feel it.
3,
in your hands.
4, 5. Breathe. Now I want you to do hip circle. So open, close.
Okay.
Open, close.
Okay. As high as your hand? Okay.
Okay, bring it down. There we go, other side. Breathe. Because kettlebells require a lot of different muscle groups, you want to make sure that your hips are open and they're not super tight.
Okay. And I feel like the average person has tight hips.
They do. Okay, so now we're gonna do some ham scoops. So one leg out.
Okay.
And then act like you're scooping. Here we go. And switch legs. There you go. Keep on going. 3. Let's just do 10. Good. Make sure you're breathing. There we go. All right. Now, how you feeling?
Great. Ready?
Okay. So now we're going to do is a kettlebell squat. So we're going to hold the kettlebell by the angles or by the sides. Okay. So where some like it this way. Let's start with this way. So when you have it up here, right in front of your chest, core tight, your feet shoulder width apart, and you're going to sit back as you're sitting in a chair as parallel as you can get, and then you're going to lift up with your butt. So we're going to eyes straight, make sure your core is tight. You're going to sit back and come up. So for some, that are, if their hips are a lot more limber, some can go all the way down. Work with what you have, but it's not necessarily to go, I'm trying to say this in a polite way, A to G, you know what I'm trying to say? You don't have to go all the way down, like how do I say this?
Understand.
To where you're able to work with what you have. But as long as you get to parallel and make sure that you're actually breathing and move and come up with your butt.
First, okay.
Butt
I
first.
saw that. Why is that?
Because some people are quad dominant to where the quads can easily take over.
Okay, so tell me what I'm doing.
So what you're doing,
down.
squat down and lift up.
Lift up, back first, booty first.
Yep. Okay, I like you sit in the chair. Now get up. There you go. Keep your knees soft, don't lock your knees.
Okay.
There you go. Good. Yeah, chest up.
Okay.
There you go. Good.
Feels different. Little wave action.
Okay, now I want you to come up and do it all with one movement. Come down, all together, up, bam, there you go. Down, all together, there you go. One more. Good. Did you feel the difference between the wave and coming up at one time?
Yeah, I even felt some lat work, some upper back.
Because you're using all of your muscles.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So the thing is with those who may kind of come down and then kind of wave it out, what that can do is that can put extra stress on the spine. So you just come down and you just come all the way up at one time, but to where you're focusing coming up with your butt.
Okay, it's different.
Yeah.
Like it.
So next we have a deadlift. Now deadlift, you have many different versions of it. This is good for your posterior chain, your hamstrings. Tight hamstrings can lead to lower back issues. Now for one of the side effects of being a military veteran is sometimes I would have moments of sciatica to where some days I couldn't walk for days, to where I was just in excruciating pain. I couldn't tie my shoes, it was just bad. But to where my hamstrings were tight, and if I don't stretch enough from here down, then you can put extra pressure on the lower back, on the spine. So a strong core necessary. Keep that core tight, but make sure that you breathe. Don't hold your breath.
Hold the belly, not the breath.
That part. So we're gonna hold it, this time, we're gonna hold it in the front. So feet shoulder width apart, and we're gonna do a hinge motion. So straight down, kind of leading with your butt, come down to where you feel the stretch, and come right back up. So where you would feel it right here, in your hamstring and in your butt. We're gonna do 10 counts of those.
All right.
Keep your eyes set, keep your back flat. So roll them shoulders back, hinge back.
Feet are good?
Hinge back, straight down, and come up. Good. Good. Keep your knees soft, don't lock your knees at the top. There you go. Good.
It's so much to think about, even though it seems so simple. And I'm like, oh, belly. Oh, breathe.
Yes.
Oh, keep the knees soft.
Yes.
Oh, roll the shoulders back. Oh, keep my chin down, eyes out. It's a lot. In a good way, though. I can't focus on all my problems. Just solutions.
All right, let's do one more.
Okay.
Good. Now where did you feel that?
I felt a little activation in the calf, honestly, and ankles. Predominantly my core, because I really had to stabilize and I wanted to not strain. So I was really thinking about abdominals more.
Okay.
Heavier weight might feel the hamstrings.
And also, so I'm gonna have you open up your feet just a little bit more. I'll try it again.
Okay.
Same motion.
Okay.
Knees soft. Now where you feel that?
I can feel some leg action. Yeah. Some hamstrings.
Yeah. So feet placement
Makes a
matter.
difference. Nice. So I wouldn't have to go up in kettlebell, just open the feet.
Good. Okay, so now we're gonna do some swings.
Okay.
Now, kettlebell swings work everything.
Okay.
Which is why I like kettlebells versus dumbbells, because if you don't have a good grip, that thing's gonna go that way. So it definitely helps with your posterior chain, because you are kind of like doing like a pop squat to bring the weight up. So you're gonna, as if you're doing a squat. So you have your shoulders back because you want to make sure that you are standing tall, don't slouch. Shoulders back, eyes straight ahead. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna have this thing just right here. You're gonna kind of let it hang, and then you're gonna go back and pop it up. And you're gonna just swing it like that. And but the thing is, you're gonna breathe with each movement, and you're gonna really use your posterior chain to just do that hinge motion, to really pop coming up.
I'll try this. So it's a deadlift first, kind of, sort of?
Kind of.
A little bit of a squat. Squat.
So this thing just straight down. Now
Swing
come back and then come up. There we go. 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. 6, 7, 8, 9.
This is fine.
10. Okay, that's it. See, you like that, see?
I did.
See?
I did. I never felt a squat like that.
Where'd you feel it?
I felt it all over, like I'm starting to feel hot. I felt almost like I had a lot of mobility because I had to swing backwards. So I went deeper into my squat. And then just the momentum of swinging up kind of created some joy. And it also reminded me to stay stable so I wouldn't go above my shoulders.
You have great lats, by the way.
Thank you.
You got a good back.
Thank you. Actually, that's naturally how I look from the back, wide upper back.
That's good.
Is that good for posing?
It actually is. it really is. Yes.
See, we're planting seeds. It's coming.
We are. It is.
Competition is coming.
So you want to do figure? Have you looked?
I don't even know the difference.
At
figure, bodybuilding, talent.
Okay, we're not doing bodybuilding. You're gonna have to use some things.
Okay, I don't want that.
We're gonna do that. So they have a bunch of different natural federations. For anyone who's thinking about it, they have natural federations to where you are drug tested to make sure you're not on anything, to where it's a level playing field. They have some have transformation categories, sometimes have bikini categories, they have athletic. There's a bunch of different things you really find, but the main thing is find one and go to a show. Just go and visit and go and just watch it. It is the most. It can be both intimidating and inspiring at the same time. You're like, oh, Lord, I need to go back to the gym. I need to go to the gym immediately.
3 times a day.
3 times a day. Like, oh my gosh. But then it's also interesting to see them in real life when they walk past. You're like, oh, okay, huh.
It's attainable. It's not they're on a stage and it's so hard to get to that goal.
Right.
Possible.
Right. So, but my thing is to. Of course, you would have to go local first and work, and work that way up. But to look at whichever category of how you may want to look. Okay. Because you have on season or during prep and off season. Okay. So you have to be able to know, okay, how do I want to look when I'm not competing, when I'm not stage lean, but also to where you're able to compete in a healthy way, to where your hormones are still intact. A lot of women lose their cycles because because their body fat is so low, but for some, they don't. And to where you are not so loaded and so focused on eating and using so many different supplements that your body is taxed, because your blood work is necessary, your vitamins and what you're eating all the way around, to where your metabolism is not damaged. So bodybuilding can be a great healthy sport. Just something to like, hey, I want to go and say that I've done it, great. But also if that's something that someone wants to get into long term, to be able to, okay, think about if you want to have children, if you want to get married, all those different things, because prep can impact that in regards to your eating. Okay, I can eat that, I need to eat this, and being okay with those social aspects of it too. So Jeff, but you have a great base. Great base.
Thank you. I found the person.
Great base. So now we're gonna leave the kettlebell alone for now.
Do the rows or no? You wanna get rid of those? I think we should show the people the road.
Yeah, because you gotta, you're giving this, it's just this. It's just giving this.
I'm gonna say.
It's giving less. It's giving this, yes. So now we're gonna.
Rows can be weird, so I think.
Rows can feel weird. So rows, it'll work your back and your shoulders, and of course your chest. It's pretty much a great upper body workout.
Okay.
So you'll stand feet shoulder width apart.
Okay.
Hold the kettlebell, both hands.
Okay.
So what you'll do is you'll pretty much bring it straight up. And come down.
Okay.
And you will feel it, shoulders, chest, definitely lats also. Okay. And you just breathe, work your way up.
How's the knees? Softly bent?
Knees softly bent.
Never lock?
No, you don't lock your knees. Because I've seen many horror movies and horror things to where some are trying to ego lift in the gym, and they're lifting all these different heavy weights. There's those who are leg pressing weights they should not be pressing, and they lock their knees, and it ends badly.
Okay. Soft knees. Soft knees,
no passing out. Okay? All right.
Okay, so grip on the top.
Grip on the top.
I'll turn forward for them for this one. Parallel or slightly turned out?
Parallel.
She did. Okay.
That's a parallel. And then you're gonna bring it straight up, and you're gonna pretty much as if you are perfect, just like that. Perfect.
Awesome. I love it. I feel things in my shoulder girdle. And I know I have imbalances, but the way the kettlebell is treated, like, it doesn't let you cheat.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
How do you know where to stop? Like shoulder height? Kind of.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Right there's good. Good.
Okay, I love it.
Good.
Some new.
Give me 3 more. You're doing good.
Okay. Awesome.
Perfect. All right, now we're going to work some core.
Okay. You want to show me over here? Or you just want me to drop down?
Go ahead and drop down if you're doing a push-up.
Push-up.
So.
Start.
We are going to, and I need you up as if we are going to do a plank. And I'm going to time you.
Okay.
So, now you have great form, which is excellent.
Should I turn sideways?
You can if you like. So, a beginner's for a plank is on your knees.
Okay. Like so? Not here?
Not there, not with the butt all the way up in the air. And then you will just hold it down. Do not, okay, now stick your butt up, all the way up. That's not a plank. Okay, that's not what we're doing. So straight flat out as if you're going to do a push-up. So your shoulders are in line with your wrists, and you are going to hold. Make sure you breathe.
How long?
You will feel it everywhere. Good. Keep holding it. Hold it. Hold it. Breathe. Rest. There you go. Good. Now, a plank works all of your muscles because you have to stay solid, you have to stay firm, you're keeping your core tight. Some women have their butt up there, like it's not working, anything that has your butt down, your eyes fixed, your shoulders in the proper position, because for some, if your shoulders are way out here, you can tweak right here in your shoulders, and it can put a lot of unnecessary pressure on the wrist.
Okay.
Excellent job.
Thank you. Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome.
What else is that it?
Let's do some mountain climbers. Have you done mountain climbers before? So this is just do 10, so five on each side.
Okay.
So you're gonna up as if you're in a plank position. See, look at it, she's already pro. And then we're gonna go, there you go. Good. Good to go. All right, we are done. This is something quick and simple.
I love it. Okay. So you said we're starting on the lower end, 3 sets of 10 reps.
3 sets of 10, yeah. And choose something that is challenging for you, but something that's not going to, that you're just like, there's no way I can even get to 4 and during my first set, but something that's going to challenge you.
Okay.
Ladies, 3 and 5 pound weights are not gonna cut it. You need to lift heavy. For women, after you turn 30, you lose about 1% of your lean body mass every year. So men have a little bit of denser bones. Women, on the other hand, because of our hormones and because of our cycles, as we get older, your bone density can decrease. So women need to really focus a lot on muscle building. Not saying that men don't, but for women, it's a lot of emphasis on muscle building to prevent osteoporosis and osteopenia, to where your bone density is shortening, and to where you're losing muscle. Men, how their bodies are set up, they also need a lot of cardiovascular work to make sure that they ward off things like heart disease. And so sometimes we often have it switched to where men, they want to lift, I don't do cardio, and so a lot of women want to lift, well, they want to do cardio and don't want to lift. You're not going to get super bulky. That's not how women's bodies are made. And muscle does not weigh more than fat. Let me end that myth right now. A pound of feathers, a pound is a pound is a pound is a pound. It is just a pound. It looks different.
It distributes itself.
It is.
Differently.
So you can see someone who is like a professional bodybuilder, they can weigh the same as someone else, but they look completely different because their body is a lot tighter. Muscle is denser and tighter. So lift weights, challenge yourself and lift weights and stay hydrated.
Okay, well, you heard her. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please look for her, follow her, continue to stay connected. Share this video if you enjoyed it. If it inspired you or encouraged you in some way, we would love to hear that in the comment section. Like, subscribe, all of the things, and take care of you. Don't get stuck. Yes, we got this. Thank you, Shalita.
You're welcome.
See you next time.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Bye. Eat your vegetables. Amen. Eat your vegetables.